It was recorded in Nashville, Tennessee over a period of 5 days. And the reason I decided to call the album All Love is when I was trying to come up with an album title, I looked through all the songs that we recorded and I realized really all of them have to do with love in some form or another, and different angles and approaches in terms of talking about love. The first song, All Love, is a song about wanting to be more loving and compassionate out into the world. The second song, Lucky Enough, is a song about gratitude and really appreciating what you have. The third song is a story song called Back Nine, where an old golfer tries to impart some wisdom to a young caddy in terms of how he's trying to be more loving and live a better life in the second half of his life. Walls is one of my favorite Tom Petty songs. It's from the movie She's the One. It's kind of a classic Tom Petty love song that we did a cover of. Beach Ready is another one, another beach song, song about how I love the beach. Coffee is a song about how much I love coffee. It's a love song written on a cup of coffee. And You Go Girl is another song that I wrote for my daughter about how I'm trying to root her on in her life, and that's also about love as well. So that's why I decided to call the album All Love. It's really just a collection of love songs.
Nobody knows how many moments they have left on the clock. I wanna be all love all the time.
The story behind All Love, the title track on my new album, is an interesting one. First of all, it's one of my favorite songs that I think I've ever written and recorded. I'm really proud of it. But at first when we wrote it, I didn't think too much about it. It was kind of a ballad song. I wasn't really that into it at first. I thought it was going to be an album cut. I wasn't even sure it was going to make the record. But I did, as part of the writing process, I sent it down to some folks in Nashville and got their feedback. And one person came back with two great points. Originally the song was called All Love All the Time, and he was like, just call it All Love, get rid of all the time. And I love that. That was a great move. A lot of times, if titles are too long, you can't really see them on the streaming platforms anyway. But that was a nice tweak. But then the other thing he said was, I hear this more as a train beat, kind of, a country sort of song, and we had originally written it as a ballad, and it was a little bit sleepy. And when I read that, I was like, I picked up my guitar and I started playing it that way, and I was like, wow, that's it. That made the song, and then brought it to Nashville, and the band just did a great job of kind of getting that vibe, that feel, the right tempo. And Matt McClure helped me sort of take a few words out to just make it so that you could really sing it at that speed, that up-tempo speed. So, but inevitably, one thing I've learned from recording songs is you just never know. There's always one song on every album that you're not sure of, and then there's always one that comes out great and it exceeds expectations, and that was the song on this album for sure. And then it became the title track, the first song on the album, and just really proud of it. But I do love that process of even getting feedback, and just sometimes you get somebody says something and it makes something come alive, and so that's kind of the fun of songwriting. So that's the story behind All Love.
It's what matters most. At the end of the game, the king and the pawn go back in the same box.
The song Lucky Enough is a song about gratitude and really trying to be appreciative of the things in your life. And my favorite line in that song is really in the chorus and the setup line and the hook, where it says, I ain't always been lucky, but I've been lucky enough. And for me, that really summed up the whole song and kind of the theme of it. You're not always lucky every day, but in general, things are pretty good in life, and you've got to appreciate it and be grateful for it. I also love the bridge. I don't reach every goal that I set, but the harder that I work, the luckier I get. So I liked how we came up with that. And then of course Andy Ellison played pedal steel on this track, and he's all over it, and he was a blast to have in the studio. It was actually the first time I've recorded with pedal steel in the studio. A lot of times we put that instrument on afterwards, but it was neat having him in all the sessions. So it's a little bit about the song Lucky Enough.
Ain't always been lucky, but I've been lucky enough.
Nine is one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. It's one I'm really proud of. And I wrote that song with my good friend Steve Seskin in Nashville. And anybody that knows Steve knows that he's the right man to write a story song with, like Back Nine. But I originally got the idea from Clint Eastwood. I was, for some reason, a while back, I was watching a TV interview with Clint Eastwood, and he was talking about his life, and he was saying how he was trying to be a better person in the second half of his life. And at one point, he just said, "I'm just trying to play better on the back nine." And I remember when he said that, I was like, I took my phone out, I typed in that concept because I thought it was a cool title, and I was like, there's a song in there somewhere. And then later on, I brought it to Steve as an idea, and he really liked it. And of course, we knew we had to write it in sort of a golf setting. So we came up with the idea of sort of an older golfer and a caddy, and the older golfer's kind of trying to impart his wisdom on the caddy, and talks about his life and how he's trying to, be a better person in the second half of his life. The hook line is, "I'm just trying to play better on the back nine." We tried to do it a little bit in the framework of The Gambler, it just came out great, and I really enjoyed writing it. I really enjoyed recording it. It's one I'm really proud of. So that's a little bit of the story behind the song Back Nine.
I'm just trying to play better on the back nine.
The song Walls on my new album is a Tom Petty song. We decided to do a cover on this album, and Walls is one of my favorite Tom Petty songs of all time. It's actually not, I don't think it's as well known of a Tom Petty song as a lot of his other ones, but it's from the movie She's the One, and it was part of the soundtrack of that. And Walls was a song that I played for a long time in clubs when I was doing covers. I used to play acoustic by myself in clubs, and that was a song I always played. I always loved it, and probably played that song a few hundred times. And finally decided to cut it. It was originally a song I was going to do on the Stillness album, but for some reason we never did it, and I just forgot about it. And then on this album I brought it back and talked to Matt McClure about it, and we decided to do it. Let's do a Tom Petty song. So we did it, and I just was comfortable with it because I'd been singing it for so long. So anyway, that's a little bit of the story behind how we made the song Walls, the Tom Petty cover.
Forever, even walls fall down.
The song Coffee, story behind that song is it's definitely probably the most silly song that I've ever written, except for maybe The Kids Table. But anybody that knows me knows I have a little bit of a silly side. I can get pretty nutty pretty quick. But originally got the idea for this song. I was in Aruba with my daughter. I took her down there, and it was just me and her, and we were in a souvenir shop, and I saw this coffee mug, and it said, "Life is hard, coffee helps." And I remember, as a songwriter, I'm always looking for titles, so I typed that into my phone, and I brought it back, and I brought it to my friend Steve Seskin because we were writing that day, and I was like, "No, life is hard, coffee helps. This would be a great song." And he wasn't really buying it, but we were thinking like, let's do something about coffee. Anyway, we were joking around, and then somehow we said, let's just write a love song written to the cup of coffee. And so it just got silly, so we just ended up doing this song about a cup of coffee, but we wrote it as a love song to the cup of coffee. So it's a little silly, but I love that song. It's one of those songs I'm not sure I care what anybody thinks, because it just kind of gets at the silly side of me. But I think it's we were always joking, maybe it'll be popular. It's about coffee, right? Anyway, that's a little bit about the song Coffee.
Coffee, coffee, when I'm sipping on you and my face.
The song You Go Girl is a song that I wrote for my daughter, and it's the second song that I've written for her, the first one being Don't You Grow Up On Me Now, which had some good success with that song. There's over 12,000 videos that have been made to that song with people's kids and dogs and cats and so forth. So that's why I was like, you know what, let's write another song about my daughter, because it seems like it resonated. So I came up with You Go Girl. It was actually over COVID when she was working. She was going through school. She was very young, and they were doing school over Zoom. So we set her up with this little desk in the back of the house, and she was going to school and on the screen, but she had this little, it was like a plaque, and I guess my wife got it for her, but it said, "You Go Girl." And I remember I used to go in there, and she'd be in there with her little blue eyes working away, and it had that sign that said, "You Go Girl." So I was like, oh, that's a good title. So it's really a song about kind of rooting her on in life and wanting the best for her. So that's a little bit about the song "You Go Girl."
You go, girl, and just know, girl, I'll be there to catch you.